Buhay everyone, MARKCHES here. Welcome to the channel. And for today's video, as you can see, I am in the court. I just recently played with these two sneakers. These two are currently two of my favorite sneakers. And a lot of you have been asking me to compare these two. So here is my verdict between the Wow 10 and of course the Li-Ning JB1. Let's go. So guys, if you are not too familiar, the Wow Way of Wade or Wow is actually a sub-brand of Li-Ning. So it's like Jordan brand from Nike. So Dwayne Wade kind of owns Way of Wade, of course. And these are the two of their top tier basketball sneaker. Of course, Way of Wade 10. This is his most expensive one and the top tier level. And of course, this is Li-Ning's one of the top tier basketballs, or I think this is the most expensive one from Li-Ning. So actually this two uses the same tech but different implementation. But of course, let's start off first with the upper. For the upper of the Wow 10, it features this kind of, I think it's same boom weave that they use here in the Wow 10 and also here on the JB1. But the main difference is the threads that are used in the Wow 10 is a little bit more fused compared to the JB1, which is kind of way softer. There's also boom fiber that they use here in the JB1. But it really depends on the colorway that you buy. This white hot colorway has this kind of upper material, but on my Blossom colorway, it has a different material, which is like a softer fused material, but doesn't have this kind of pattern. So you can see it here. It has a different pattern on the Blossom. I'll be putting some photos here too of that Wow 10 Blossom colorway. But typically, in terms of touch, it's kind of different, but the play style, there's no break-in time needed for these two materials. Very soft to the touch right from the beginning. They're very comfortable, but what's nice about this material is it's very structured, very supportive, doesn't stretch. So it has a very nice support, especially laterally, or when you're doing a sudden stop, it really contains your foot to the footbed. Just listen up properly and you're good to go. So both materials run from the forefoot to the heel part of the sneaker, also on the Wow 10, and a lot of fusing on the tip of the forefoot and on the side in the medial part of the sneaker, while on the JB1 also has some fusing and additional plastic piece here on the toe box. And of course, what makes this two very good laterally is the caging on the side. The JB1 has this harder plastic here, this kind of fish shaped here on the JB1, while on the Wow 10 it has this softer rubber, but they really contain your foot really nicely. So when you're doing lateral cuts, lateral moves, your feet are really contained. And both sneakers have this type of wing on the forefoot, but on the JB1 you will feel it a bit more because it has a different material here. This wing here, when you tighten it up, it hugs your foot really well, especially around the forefoot. This wing here really helps out. While the Wow 10, it doesn't have that strap, so this fuse material, when you tighten it up, it will hug your foot more. So a little bit better on the JB ones, but when you play with them, just tighten up the laces. It's kind of a little difference only. You won't notice it if you're just buying one of these. Both have traditional laces and traditional tongue. It's very easy to adjust. But of course, the JB around the midfoot has an extra wing too here, which really gives you extra lockdown around the midfoot part. But even though the Wow 10 doesn't have that, it's still very good in terms of lockdown and support, and really pulls your foot down to the footbed. I mean, the shape of the Wow 10, a very nice contour to your foot. It really hugs your foot very well. Enough space around the toe area. So I really like the shape on the Wow 10. So I can't choose between the two because both are awesome performance. But if you want extra support and lockdown feel, of course, this strap will help in the JB1s. This forefoot and midfoot strap will really help down in support. Now around the heel part of the sneaker, WOW 10 is a high cut, but they'll be releasing soon a low top sneaker on the WOW 10. While on JB1 it's a low top sneaker, so if you want a low top sneaker, of course, go with the JB1s. In high top, if you want more ankle protection, the WOW 10 will give you that. As for heel containment, lockdown, and containment, both have amazing heel containment lockdown on the two. Very nicely cushioned on both. They're very nicely padded from the heel to the Achilles, and even on the ankle bone here on the side. So it's really very comfortable. It really depends on just your preference. Now for the cushion setup of the WOW 10 and the JB1, which is kind of same but kind of different in a way, because on the WOW 10 it has a full length boom cushion, and the strobo is just made out of this matte material, and you can really feel the boom cushion right below your foot. And like I've said in my previous video, the implementation on the boom cushion of the WOW 10 is kind of different compared to the All City. It's like a boom in steroids. It's really bouncy. I mean, I can't really explain it, but it's like a foam with the zoom feeling. So that's how bouncy it is. While the JB1 has a drop in midsole, which is also a full-length boom cushion. And the main difference between the two is, like I said, it's the feeling on the WOW 10 is a bit more bouncy. It's the bounciest among all the boom implementation on leaning and way of wade. But on the JB1, it is a little bit bouncier compared to the 808, in my opinion. So, Mark, what's the difference between the two cushion setup? For impact protection, there's a little bit of difference. If you want more impact protection, the JB1 is a little thicker around the heel, while the WOW 10 is a little bit lower to the ground, but still very bouncy. Still has impact protection, but not as good as the impact protection that the JB1 will give you. As for the insole of the WOW 10, it has the same feeling of boom. So I think one of the factors that really makes the WOW 10 comfortable is the insole, because of how nice and plush and thick the insole is. It's really quality insole on the WOW 10s. So it really depends on your preference. If you want the feeling of the boom really below your foot and more impact protection, the JB1 will give you that. But if you want a more bouncier feel and a really low to the ground setup, so it feels more responsive in my opinion because it's lower to the ground. Plus, of course, if a sneaker is lower to the ground, it is more stable and you could get your balance easier on the WOW 10 because it is closer to the ground compared to the JB1, which is a little bit thicker in terms of the foam used on the JB1s. These two sneakers also has a full-length carbon fiber plate, and like in my previous video, it really makes a difference, especially if you like running up and down the floor, if you want to save energy. When I'm playing it, I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but when I'm playing with the WOW 10 and the JB1, I don't get tired that easily running up and down the floor. So if you're playing on a high intensity game, you surely want that feeling. It helps out in energy conservation. The springback on the WOW 10 is a little bit more springier compared to the JB1. The bend test, it's kind of similar. I'm actually bending the sneaker right now. So that's why you're asking why is it like so expensive. I know this is around 12,000 pesos SRP, while this one is running about 11,000 pesos. So unfortunately, it's not yet available to the online sites of Leaning and Way of Wade, but you can cop a pair. It's a really nice ride. I mean, the foam, the cushion setup of these two are really awesome. Now let's go to the traction on these two, which is another major difference between the JB1 and the WOW 10. The WOW 10 has physical hard rubber for the outsole, and it's the typical rubber material that's used for traction. So it squeaks more because a herringbone pattern, but it is a lot smaller pattern. And even on dusty floor, it grips really, really well. You can see the carbon fiber plate there. while on the JB1, it has the softer foam as the traction pattern. So the main difference is, of course, durability. The WOW 10 is a little bit more durable compared to the JB1. So outdoor use on the JB1 is a no-go at all. It's just for indoor use, because even though I'm just playing with this in the indoor court, I can see some fraying on the traction already on the JB1's traction. So just for indoor use, but if you want a more durable outsole, the WOW 10 will be better in that aspect. And of course, if you want that squeaky sound, the WOW 10 is the one for you, because the JB1 is completely silent. You can't hear any squeak, but the traction, it really grips really nicely on the floor, and they both have amazing traction even on a dusty floor. I'm playing here, it's kind of dusty right now, but still grips really nicely on both sneakers. So as for the sizing of both sneakers, I would say regular footers go half a size down, but if you're a wide footer, go true to size. They run a little bit big, so I would suggest if you're buying from Way of Wade or Leaning, measure or get your CM size here. It's written right beside the US and UK. So get the CM size and get that size. So that's it on my comparison between these two sneakers. Like I said, both are awesome performing sneakers. It's just a matter of your preference. If you want a low cut, if you want a drop-in midsole feeling, and of course, a bit more mid-foot and forefoot lockdown support, the JB1 was better for you. But if you want more stability, responsive, lower to the ground feel, and of course, a high top sneaker for extra ankle protection, and of course, that squeaky sound, and a little bit more durable rubber outsole, of course, the WOW 10 is for you. So let me know, guys, what you are choosing between these two. Hit me a comment down below. This has been MARKCHES. Once again, thank you for dropping by the channel. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.